What is up, fam? Welcome back to another episode, and this is how I wax a snowboard. So this is a Neversummer board that I have that I won on Instagram. It needs a repair and a wax, so I'm just gonna take you through it. And first things first is we gotta remove these bindings. I like to wipe down the top sheet with a rag just to get any kind of crap off the top of it. It also gives you a chance to inspect whether you have any gouges up top or not. So this is my tail and this is my tip. I like to wax from my tip to my tail, so I'm going to flip the snowboard around when I turn it over. So turn it over just like this. So now my tip is up here and my tail is here. So this snowboard needs a repair, and it's right here, in this little area right here. I'll bring the camera down where you can see it. I hit a rock, and it's this little spot right here. It's pretty gnarly. I'm gonna try to repair that. So first I'm gonna grab a razor, and I'm gonna slowly razor it towards me. Trying to keep the razor as flat as I can. Remove any high spots. Seems like that's as good as I can get with a razor. Now I'm going to come through with my sharp metal edge scraper. Just try to push it forward. Alright, so that's pretty much as flat as I can get it. Now I need to attend to the edges. So I got these little blocks that I made. We'll put the clear one here, just like that. Tightens up the snowboard in this gap right here, and the vise, so the snowboard doesn't move. I got the yellow one for the back. I covered them in tape so they wouldn't gouge the base of the snowboard. I had to face the snowboard this way. So I have my sharpener here. It's in 90 degrees. That's what this company uses for an edge. And I like this one because it has rollers. Doesn't scrape the base of the snowboard, because these rollers are going to sit up on that snowboard like that. I also have a wire brush that after every pass I'll take and clean the sharpener, and I have another cloth that's separate. Clean up all the metal shards. I believe that's it. I just needed one pass. The snowboard's still pretty new. I just needed one pass on that side. Now I'm just gonna flip it over and do the other side. Well, again, this board really doesn't need it. I'm just gonna take one pass and call it. See, that's it. That's all it needs. Blocks off. Before I make my repair, I'm going to clean the entire snowboard. I use Zepp heavy duty citrus cleaner. Normally I'd be using a green scrubby pad, but I don't have one. I have what is the equivalency, but this is just a blue dish pad. I'm going to use this side, not this side. I'm just gonna put it down, scraping back and forth, one hand on top of the other, but never in a circular motion, just straight back and forth on the snowboard. Get yourself a rag, it's nice and dry. So now we wait a little bit longer just to make sure it actually is dry. So now that the snowboard is nice and dry, I'm going to attempt to make my repair. I have a P-Tech stick, my metal scraper, also have a second metal scraper to actually drip So full disclaimer, this is gonna be hot, super hot. Don't let this drip on your skin at all. All right, there's a method on how to work these. So I'm gonna light it on fire, just like that with a lighter. It's gonna take a second to actually get lit. Sometimes I like to just test it by letting the flame go out and then just pushing the red thing down to see if it's still lit. See? It's nice and lit. It's self-sustaining now. We're just gonna let it burn for a second. Give it a couple drips. So I'm gonna work from the front of the repair to the back. It's a large repair, so I need to work from the smallest area to the biggest. I'm gonna keep it nice and close to the board, almost like you're welding. So let it fill in. Alright, and that's it. I'll put the PTEX back over the scraper. Let it aside and let your repair dry. You should probably specify that my floor below me is concrete, so it doesn't really matter if I blow hot PTEX onto the floor. Just make sure wherever you're blowing your hot PTEX onto to blow this out is not onto something that's flammable. You know, it's hot plastic, and it's not like dripping a candle on your skin. This is hot molten plastic. If you get it on your skin, it's gonna cause like a 3rd-degree burn. I accidentally dripped some of it on my skin once. You wanna make sure your repair cools down before you go ahead and scrape it. Get your nice sharp scraper, and you're gonna go ahead and give her a nice scraping. Just keep it at a nice low angle, and just go slow. Don't go too fast. You don't want to have to make future repairs. Because again, this edge is going to be in this area. You don't want to go too far this way and make new gouges in your snowboard. That's what I mean by future repairs. With this, I like to pull towards myself. It's just easier for me. So these are the kind of shavings you're looking for. Those kind of rounded shavings. That way you know you're not taking off too much in one single pass. You're not trying to pull the repair out of it. You just want to shave it down. Just for the camera, I'll try to push away. See, I don't like that. I'm not comfortable with that. I'll try to do it from this side. Oh, look at that. Nice and satisfactory. So you can tell there's still a little high spot right here and right here. So you want to try to make that disappear. And there you have it. There's the repair. It's as flat as it's gonna get. Any other spots that need to be filled, we'll fill it in with wax. Then I've got my repair made. I'm gonna plug in my iron. Sit back and relax and wait for my iron to heat up. Good opportunity. Have a little adult beverage. My iron has its own special little table over here. That table's only function is to hold that iron. This is my stick of wax I will be using. This is a piece of 1-ball all-temp wax that I got at Potter Brothers at the mountain I work at. I assure you that I will not use this entire piece of wax. That there will be some left over when I'm done. Also, just note that waxing a snowboard, it makes a mess. So wherever you do your tune job, just make sure it's not in your wife's living room or on your precious dining room table. It's gonna make a mess. That's why I do this in my basement, and I have set up this whole area that's just for waxing and tuning a snowboard or skis. If you have a set of skis, I'll do that too. All right, my iron is nice and warm, so I'm gonna take my little brick of wax that I have. It's all temp. I'm gonna do the edges first. So I'm gonna go down the edges. Keeping it kind of nice and tight, but not too close. Not all the way to the tail. It's unnecessary to do the tip or the tail. So now that I got the edges, contact point from contact point, and all that's left is the center. See how much wax I still have left? I am going to just put it here, and I'm just going to go down the center line in the S pattern, back and forth, kind of letting it drip, and then back in the same kind of double helix pattern, and that's it. I might take and touch it here, let it drip there, here or there. There's a spot here, you know. That's it. I still have this whole piece left. That's not a lot of wax used. Now we rub it in. I like to start back here and work my way this way. It's just how I do it. And I work in a circular pattern. Making sure that I never ever leave the iron in one spot. Ever too long. Just long enough to melt that wax and move it along the snowboard. You want to make sure to keep your iron moving. Now I'm going to go in a counterclockwise motion to try to push the wax back onto the snowboard versus if I were to go this way, to kind of pull it out and onto the floor. Just keep it moving nice and fast. And again, once you get to the other edge, you want to go in a counterclockwise motion. I like to go to the other end, go backwards, that way that end has a chance to cool down by the time I get to it. So notice I'm working the edges a little bit harder than normal. It's just because you spend a lot of time on your edges, and then I'll come to the center of the snowboard. Doesn't really matter which direction you go. You can go counterclockwise, you can go clockwise, just as long as you're spreading the wax onto the snowboard and into it. Occasionally take your hand and put it underneath the snowboard to feel the top sheet. If you feel a hot top sheet, you might have overheated your snowboard a little bit, and it's a good opportunity to just go ahead and take a break and come back to it. Let the snowboard cool down. Overheating the snowboard over and over and over and over again, if you wax your snowboard a lot, you can end up ultimately delaminating your snowboard just because you overtuned it. So the top sheet's still nice and cool. I feel like I've got good coverage. One little spot right here I need to do again in an insert pack. And there we go. Right here again. I really don't see anything else. It's all been done. Right there, good spot. And now we let the snowboard cool. Make sure to unplug your iron. I'm gonna take my iron, put it down here in a safe place. I'm gonna take and unplug my iron. Make sure it's unplugged. It's just gonna sit there and cool. Again, now your snowboard is cooling. If you have another snowboard, it's a good opportunity to take this aside over in a drying rack and bring another one over and do another one if you have a second job you need to do. But I don't have a second job. So now we're just gonna let this cool and we're gonna have more adult beverages. So this is the part where it starts to make a mess. I like to start with my edges. I have a special scraper that just does the edges. So I'm not worried about cutting up the edges or anything like that. I just want to get the wax off of the edge of the snowboard. Usually just a couple passes does the trick. One on each end. Give it a couple inspections. You know what? I need to make another one. Here. Really press with your thumb. Cool, edges are done. Make a bunch of passes in one direction, working from one side to the next, trying to get as much off as you can. And again, this is just my method of doing it. It might be different than yours. Nothing to tell here at the edge. I'm still kind of got a little buildup right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work from a little bit beyond the contact point to the contact point like this in kind of a fast motion to try to get rid of this line here. So I've worked that line down just a little bit. If you see all of these lines here, those will all go away with the tool I'm about to use in just a second. A roto brush. It's just a brush hooked up to a drill. If you're wearing a hoodie and has strings that hook down, make sure you want to tuck those strings into your hoodie. This is a spinning device, all right? It spins pretty fast. You want to make sure that you don't have any kind of dangling or loose clothing in the way that can get wrapped up in this. You don't want this getting sucked up into you like that. I'm going to start right here with this little spot so you can kind of see it go away. Wipe it down. Pretty close to being done. I think we're actually at that point where I'm just going to keep working the roto brush back and forth. that last pass, I think we're done. And that's that. Flip it over. This side. This guy right here. And there you have it. Ready to ride. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. Thanks for watching. Stay positive. Peace, y'all.